नमस्कार दोस्तों, मैं हूं कपिल गंभीर। आप देख रहे हैं द वरुण कपूर शो, दुबई तमिजान, इंसाफ एसएसआर, जस्टिस और एसएसआर, द वरुण कपूर शो, रिमेम्बरिंग एसएसआर एंड कृधा प्रोडक्शंस। आप सभी प्लेटफॉर्म को एक साथ देख पा रहे हैं और मैं जल्दी से सभी को एक साथ ले लेता हूं। वरुण जी हैं हमारे साथ, श्वेता श्रीवास्तव हैं, गिरिजा जी हैं, भरत जी हैं, दुबई तमिजान है। तो वरुण जी, शुरू करते हैं हमारा अगला सेशन।
एब्सोल्युटली, और ऐसे ही करेंगे। नेक्स्ट पे देखते हैं कौन स्क्रीन पे लास्ट मिनट पे डाला जाएगा। इट विल बी अ सरप्राइज, बट क्योंकि हम सबके प्लेटफॉर्म लाइव हैं, राइट, एंड दैट्स व्हाई यस, दिस इज लाइव। सुनीता जी एंड एवरीबॉडी, हेलो, वेलकम टू द सेकंड सेशन। बहुत सारे सेशन हैं। इस वाले सेशन में वी आर एक्सपेक्टिंग टू गेस्ट, हालांकि मेरी अभी विभूति जी से हो नहीं पा रही है बात, but the second guest will definitely join because he has already confirmed he's on the way. End of the day, we'll continue to talk about Sushant. हम सुशांत के बारे में ही बात कर रहे हैं। जो भी होगा, जैसे भी होगा, आके कनेक्ट हो सकता है इस सेशन के साथ भी, and we're really and wherever we leave, we'll continue on from there in the second session as well. So thank you once again for joining, and इस सेशन में जैसे मैंने कहा, these two gentlemen, they are going to talk a lot about Sushant, this movement, क्या होता है, कैसे होता है, क्या हुआ है, कैसे आगे चलेगा, ये सब चीजों के बारे में हम बात करेंगे, and love to hear your thoughts. I see Simi ji as well again, so welcome once again, Simi ji. और ये वाला शो is वो कहते हैं ना, is will be run by, love to hear your thoughts. I see Simi ji as well again, so welcome once again. Sorry. So जैसे कि मैंने कहा, we will continue having more hosts, more people talk. इस वाले के लिए I will definitely, as soon as the guests join, I think I would encourage all of us to be around so that we can ask some basic questions around this movement and all. So please, yes, Simi ji, अगर आप कुछ कहना चाहती हैं या आप एक और कोई कुछ सुनाना चाहती हैं, you can, while we wait for our guests.
हर हर महादेव, थैंक यू वेरी मच। लिंगाष्टकम बोलती हूँ मैं। ब्रह्ममुरारी सुरार्जित लिंगम निर्मल भाषित शोभित लिंगम जन्मज दुःख विनाशन लिंगम तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिंगम देवमुनि प्रवरार्चित लिंगम कामदहं करुणाकर लिंगम रावण दर्प विनाशन
Did we lose her?
I think so.
Okay, all right.
I guess, yeah, we lost the voice.
Okay. Meanwhile, we have Sydney here. Sydney Emmanuel. Hello, Sydney.
हाँ, पता नहीं क्यों डिस्कनेक्ट हो जाता है। मैंने कुछ भी नहीं किया, ट्राई कर रही हूँ।
He's back.
Yeah.
Please go ahead, Simi ji. We can hear you.
अच्छा, ओके, थैंक यू। सर्वसुगंधि सुलेपित लिंगम बुद्धि विवर्धन कारण लिंगम सिद्ध सुरासुर वंजित लिंगम तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिंगम कनक महामणि भूषित लिंगम फणिपति वेष्टित शोभित लिंगम दक्ष सुयज्ञ विनाशन लिंगम तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिंगम कुमकुम चंदन लेपित लिंगम पंकजहार सुशोभित लिंगम सच्चित पाप विनाशन लिंगम तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिंगम देवगणार्चित लेपित लिंगम भार्वर भक्ति विवेचित लिंगम दिनकर कोटि प्रभाकर लिंगम तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिंगम अष्टदलोपरिवेष्टितलिङ्गं सर्वसुमध्यकारणलिङ्गम् अष्टदरिद्रविनाशनलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गम् सुरगुरुसुरवरपूजितलिङ्गं सुरवरपुष्पसदार्चितलिङ्गं परात्परं परमात्मजलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गम् हर हर महादेव जय श्री राम
थैंक यू आई थिंक उनके नेटवर्क का कुछ ज्यादा ही लग रहा है आई थिंक वी लॉस्ट हर अगेन ऑलराइट सो लाइक आई सेड दिस पर्टिकुलर सेशन हमारे साथ अभी जुड़ने ही वाले हैं in next few minutes विभूति जी से मैं कांटेक्ट नहीं कर पा रहा so maybe what I'll do is I will definitely try to go offline and see if I can get hold of him but at least we'll have Santosh Pandey ji who will be joining and right after this session we will have Bridge Wani se and उनकी वाणी सुनेंगे उनसे बहुत बातें करेंगे I'm really looking forward to that as well so keep checking for all the sessions and we will keep on updating you. All right, I think we have Santosh ji here, so let me get him on the screen. Welcome Santosh ji.
Namaste Varun ji, you can hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Namaste, thank you
for doing it so late in the night and of course I know aap bahar bhi hain but I was not able to unable to kind of reach out to Vibhuti ji so I don't know if he completely forgot about it maybe he missed it but
Varun is joining just in a minute.
Okay, perfect.
Great.
I can't hear you. You're muted, I think.
No, I can. Everyone can hear me, right? Sab log
Yeah,
sun pa rahe hain.
you can hear you Varun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
He's joining now. Yeah.
okay, perfect.
In 2 minutes. Yeah.
All right. But let's get going because of course we have this a 1 hour thing. So Santosh ji पहले तो थोड़ा सा अपने बारे में आप बताएं सबको and then how or what do you know about this movement जो पिछले almost 19 months से चल रही है and what do you feel about this?
वरुण जी मैं पटना से हूँ और सुशांत के शहर से हूँ so मेरा सुशांत के साथ एक इमोशनल बॉन्डिंग है और kudos to you because a lot of people have tried to run the campaign for justice for Sushant but nobody has been able to do like you have been doing sustainably every day by day for so long and I think you are not only campaigning for him but you are campaigning for all of us okay so that's why you have all our support and that's why I agreed to come with you here and all the participants and also show my solidarity especially when it is birthday of Sushant because we dearly love him and he doesn't represent as an actor khali matlab actor nahi hai he's not just because of my city he represents a larger than life thing for youth okay in today's time and that is why I mean, people across the board, whether they are from this state or that state, it doesn't matter, Across the board, people have come out and supported and given a voice for him. Okay. So that's why I'm here with you. I'm a chartered accountant working here. I live in Luxembourg. Currently, I'm in Germany, in Düsseldorf, and I'm joining from here.
Great. Thank you for that. And आप जैसे देख रहे हैं स्क्रीन पे we have more people कपिल हैं गिरिजा जी हैं दुबई तमिजान और यश is here and Shweta is here so we'll continue and keep it all focused around Sushant but you mentioned कि आप पटना से हैं आपने mention किया that's one of the reasons why you have that kind of connect तो थोड़ा सा इसके बारे में बताएं जब 14 जून 2020 को आपने ये सुना था या आपको पता चला था इस बारे में what was your initial kind of take on it or as things have progressed how have you seen this movement take different courses of direction थोड़ा उसके बारे में हमारे साथ शेयर करें please
सो वरुण जी, नॉर्मली हम लोग तो इंडिया के बाहर रहते हैं, तो जो लोग इंडिया के बाहर हैं, आप इस बात को खुद ही समझ सकते हैं, बिकॉज आप भी यूएस में रहते हैं. तो वी आर फिजिकली रिमूव्ड फ्रॉम आवर प्लेस, बट somehow our heart and soul still remains there, right? So कोई भी चीज ऐसा अनहोनी या इस टाइप का घटना होता है तो हम लोगों का मतलब दिल दहल जाता है एक तरह से. And when we heard that it happened with Sushant, first of all, it was refusal, reluctance to believe. मतलब 2-3 दिन तक यकीन ही नहीं हुआ कि ये हो गया है ऐसा. ठीक है. So acceptance नहीं था, refusal था. Then we reconciled the fact that yes, it is done. And thereafter, we are trying to kind of rethink and relive the moment and try to find out why it has happened. Okay. Who is behind this? How can, a guy like Sushant would have done this? And okay, we had a little bit of, insight on Sushant's life, but I don't want to go into private things. But हम लोग को पता था कि a person like Sushant would never do that. A guy who comes from a small town, struggles through the grinds of Bollywood, and struggle in for a career, and he has made it all on his own. So how can one day he can sacrifice everything which he has earned for what? I mean, your mind stops to think. You cannot imagine what could have brought him to this kind of brink. And then you start to question, was it done by him? Was it forced? Did somebody had ulterior motive? And all kind of theories. So this we have been pondering just after the incidents, and then all things started popping out from here and there. And we had several theories. We have all lived through that. Nothing has been proven so far now still. But this is very painful, that we don't know the truth. Okay. And unless we know the truth, the closure is not going to happen to all of us who loved him. And this is what we are waiting for him, because of course we are not able to bring him back, or anybody who has left the world. But a closure, a dignified justice is very important at the end of the day. And until that happens, the struggle which you are fighting for, the struggle in which we are all together will not close. Until that day, I think our minds will wander, our thoughts will wander, we will keep on questioning, and we will still not believe how it happened. So theories can be there, people can talk this or that, but at the end of the day, we will not come to a conclusion, and our heart and mind will keep on questioning. So that's what I feel about it.
Great. All right. I see Vibhuti ji. So welcome and namaskar, Vibhuti ji.
Namaskar to everybody in the show. I got confused with the date, 21st, and namaste Santosh ji.
Namaste, Vibhuti ji.
And thank you, Girija ji, for calling, and I'm right on.
Thank you.
Sincere apologies. I didn't have to dress up. I didn't have to comb my hair. I didn't have to put up a makeup. That's the advantage of being a big, bald, and not so handsome.
Not at all. Not at all. You look always good, and thank you. I thought so. मुझे भी लगा था कि वैसे हम 21st क्योंकि बोल रहे हैं, बट क्योंकि यूएस और इंडिया के टाइम डिफरेंस के चक्कर में आई थी.
I thought that आप चूंकि यूएस में हैं तो आप यूएस की टाइम लेंगे. Maybe Pacific, but you said 1:30 Pacific, and I got confused. But Padmaja, happy, namaste Padmaji. And then what happened was my phone had drained out, so it was on charger.
Oh, okay, that's why.
Then I just got up and checked. That's it, nothing more. And I saw Girija ji's call there. Then I got the admonition. What are you doing and where are you? Your friend Santosh is here.
I was also caught by surprise, Vibhuti ji, when Varun messaged me. I thought, oh, it's 21st, so it should be tomorrow.
Right? That's right. Yeah. So Varun,
कल हम दोबारा कर लेंगे.
2 votes to 1, you are guilty.
I know, I'm guilty. I कल फिर कर लेंगे 21st को. If you already lost your time, we'll do it. But thank you for joining. And Vibhuti ji, you don't need any kind of introduction. People know you, people follow you. But more importantly, you have also stood firm on certain things around Sushant Singh Rajput. Aj, we are celebrating Sushant Day, and you have put few things up out in the public very clearly. Okay, this was what it was. We all know what happened, and and even though we are still waiting for that closure, we are still waiting for CBI and different agencies ke updates ke liye. But at the same time, this particular movement that has been going on for the last almost 19 plus months is definitely one of the strongest, the most fiercest, movement that has happened in the history of this country or the world. I would call it now. So tell us a little bit more, and share your own experiences. You have seen, witnessed it online as well as on different platforms. जो भी आप इसके बारे में कहना चाहते हैं, please, would love to hear you.
Look, I'll tell you one thing. Death rides a horse, so goes a famous movie. All right. It happens all the time. Sad, good. It is never a good moment for anyone to have left the world. But in his case, like I kind of pay attention to conspiracy theories. But in this particular case, there was no conspiracy theory so far as I'm concerned, because the way the statements were made by various groups of people, the media, the police, he committed suicide. Then when the evidences began to come along, it became a grotesque evidence or pictures that this was not somebody who commits suicide. And as Santoshji was pointing out earlier, based on his personal knowledge and friendship in that family, I was convinced beyond doubt that sometimes, even, hey, Robin Williams committed suicide here. Who would have thought? I'm such a fan. My son and I are such fans of Robin Williams that we thought that man was an original satirist and a comedian who could speak on the spur of the moment on any topic or make you laugh. He had that ability. But we did not know that he was so sad deep in his heart and his mind. Maybe if he had experienced some meditation and what we call the relaxed part of it, maybe he would have survived if he had dealt with that. But I would say that Sushant Singh was too young. When people began to say, actors began to say, the news began to say that, oh, he was a failure, he was worried about his career and all that, it baffled me, because this man had done outstanding role as actor. He had entertained the world around. He became, in terms of a generational shift, you have Amitabh Bachchan, you have Dilip Kumar, you have Amitabh Bachchan, that trio of Dilip Kumar, Devanand and Raj Kapoor. Then you have next generation comes in of Dharmendra, Jitendra and all. Then you have Amitabh Bachchan, then you have the Khan clan. And then you had Hrithik Roshan, who broke the monopoly of Khans in terms of dance and things like that. I remember New York Times did an article on Hrithik Roshan saying that at last there is an actor who can dance in Bollywood, So the guy can act, he's tall, handsome, well-built. He personified a Western guy in the thing. Likewise, there was, Sushant Singh had brought about an intergenerational shift in the Bollywood in terms of pure acting, pure presence. And he typified we in Hollywood we say very often, less is more. आप उसकी सारी pictures देखें, he was never over dramatic about anything. Yes, there are certain things masale ke liye karte hain, but in his case I found that he was very subdued. He spoke with his eyes. That is the classic expression of good acting comes from, that you speak with your eyes, you emote in that fashion. So for me, when I tracked his record of what he was, there was no justification for him to commit suicide. No. He was too brave, he was too smart, he was very intelligent, and he was ambitious. He was moving along on his ambition. So the fact that he was so loved is evidenced by your effort and how a family has been created, that people are wishing that जिसने भी किया हो उसको सजा मिलनी है. And you are right, as Santosh ji said it very correctly. Closure तब तक नहीं होगा जब तक हम उस इंसान को ना पकड़ेंगे या उस दल को ना पकड़ेंगे और उनकी एविडेंस जब तक नहीं आएगी कि किसने किया. क्यों किया, कैसे किया. That bayan has to happen. Look, it is not just a murder. I mean, people die. I mean, US Army commits mistakes and civilians die. But the question is, a mistake is a mistake. The question is whether it's a deliberate intent. All of us are in the dark. People are talking about varieties of things. And, as Sushma ji says, he was so cute. Yes, he was. I mean, he had expressions, like it is an intergenerational shift. My wife was in love with Devanand, then it became Hrithik Roshan, then it became Sushant Singh. And she said, eventually, Bihari se phas gayi main phir dobara, because she's a Pune girl. So it was a very, very sweet, emotional touch that had come in my family. My son was very proud of him. He says, Dad, what a cool guy. It was there is a thing that makes an impression. I don't know him. I didn't know him. But एक screen का presence होता है. There are many actors whom you see and you say, junk hai. And I'm you know me, I'm very unabashed guy. I find Salman Khan, Shah Rukh Khan very pretentious. Amir Khan very pretentious. All these guys are remarkably pretentious about their acting. This guy had no pretensions about himself. So I definitely believe that the tragedy that Sushant Singh's death was, and the hurt that it has caused all of us, a young life, a good life, taken away in a manner that is so brutal, it needs to be investigated. Chahe jo bhi ho. I mean, we know that, we have not found who killed JFK, but this can be found. We are living in a different era now.
True.
And 12 years ago, when I was consulting with an investment bank in the Middle East, I had said, technology will force people to certain degree of honesty. आप छुप नहीं सकते अब. You cannot hide anymore. The fact that I'm here on this show is recorded forever. I can't say I didn't say this in context. आज की तारीख में आप देखेंगे कोई भी पॉलिटिशियन अब ये नहीं कहता कि I have been quoted out of context. उस कमबख्त की quotation is context is also in front of all of us. So that's the reason why you find that many politicians can't hide anymore. Akhilesh Yadav, Rahul Gandhi, Pappu hai ya Chappu hai, sab dikh jate hain sab. We all know that. That's the point which I'm trying to say here. This guy, I mean, I tell you, apart from being a fellow Bihari, it is a nice feeling to know that, Bihar se bhi banda jam gaya Mumbai mein aake, acting ki. And then what, I tell you, after that I tracked his couple of videos and I was totally astonished that those actors who were talking about him in a negative way, I was astonished that how Shah Rukh Khan dealt with him in an award show, virtually insulting him. And this boy took it. He took it. I mean, डर के मारे लिया या सीनियर है उसके मारे लिया. अब बम्बई में तो हॉलीवुड में सबकी पांव छूते रहते हैं फिजूल के बिना, without meaning it. But the point which I'm trying to say to you is that was a humiliating experience for any young actor. Even the audience was shocked, and I was totally stunned. अगर मैं शाहरुख, अगर मैं उस स्टेज में होता तो you know me, the kind of person I am, I would have stood up and told Shah Rukh Khan, shut the F you, बैठ जाओ. But the point is, the matter is that he was suddenly perceived. कि आप ऐसा है, Bollywood is such a place where nobody wants to grow old, particularly your male actors, and they want to romance with a 16-year-old when even if they are 55. So the thing is that जब आपको एक असली 26 साल का आ जाता है सामने, तब आपका बुढ़ापा और भी ज्यादा दिखता है.
सही, बहुत सही कहा, बिल्कुल सही कहा.
And that's where the threat came to.
Yeah.
I know it, people, whether you know it or not, how the Khan clan, and I dare say that, how the Khan clan tried to destroy Hrithik Roshan. Uske father pe bhi attack hua. So there is a mafia element in it, and all the financiers of Bollywood are people of unsavory reputation to the extent that we know. There is a lot of organized effort has been done to bring about a solemnity of investment criterion, but still it is not. And there are people we know, things we know, and we have to be. And I'm listen. Every disaster is an opportunity. this coming together of people, I don't even know anyone other than Santosh ji and you and Girija ji. I don't know anybody in the people who are commenting here, apart from a few who came on our Relax app conversations. But he created a family. He has left a family behind. And every family member wants the answer. This voice can't be silenced. And we must not be silenced. चाहे वो चीफ मिनिस्टर हो, चीफ मिनिस्टर का बेटा हो, चाहे जो भी हो, ये सवाल पूछना है हमें कि आप कर क्या रहे हैं इसके मामले में. ये सवाल पूछने का तो हक है हमें, चाहे ट्विटर शांत भी कर दे हमें, फिर भी ये सवाल तो हम पूछ सकते हैं भाई. So why should we ask that? Why must not we ask that? That's my point. आप संतोष जी, जब संतोष जी ने कहा कि हमारा पारिवारिक संबंध था, पहचान थी, मुझे और भी ज्यादा दुख हुआ कि now I know a guy who personally has endured that loss. So the point of the matter here is that I'm feeling so strong about it at my young age of 99. I think you guys cannot afford to let this battle go unattended. And this must be heard, seen and witnessed. Thank you.
बिल्कुल, बहुत बढ़िया चीजें कहीं कपिल. आप और गिरिजा जी प्लीज फील फ्री टू comment as well as ask questions, but मैं सिर्फ इतना कहूंगा, again, मैंने तभी बोला था शुरुआत में, the man who doesn't need any introduction, who doesn't need a script, he speaks from his heart and he speaks the facts. और मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा इनकी बातों में कुछ चीजें किस तरह से बिना नाम लिए, बिना कुछ कहे भी बहुत कुछ कह दिया. And message is completely conveyed out to the public. So great. So please go ahead, Kapil, अगर आप कुछ, और फिर गिरिजा जी. आप म्यूट पे हैं कपिल. कपिल, you are mute.
सर, आपने वाकई, जैसे वरुण ने कहा कि आपने बिना किसी का नाम लिए सारी बातें कह दी, बहुत ही अच्छे तरीके से हमें समझाया कि आखिर सुशांत सिंह राजपूत के साथ क्या हुआ था. और एक चीज और मैं ये कहना चाहूंगा कि, या फिर आपसे पूछना चाहूंगा कि ये जो सरकारें या जो भी सिस्टम लचर रवैया अपना रहे हैं इन सब चीजों को लेकर, सुशांत सिंह राजपूत को जस्टिस ना दिलवाने की इन लोगों ने कसम खा ली या फिर इग्नोर कर रहे हैं, इसका उल्टा नहीं कर सकते थे ये लोग कि सुशांत के लिए वाकई सिर्फ वोट के लिए नहीं, ऐसा नहीं कि बिहार में इलेक्शन है तब नहीं, ऐसा नहीं कि किसी और स्टेट में इलेक्शन है तब नहीं, जेन्युइनली अगर वो चाहते तो सुशांत सिंह राजपूत के लिए वो एक्चुअली वो काम कर सकते थे उनके जस्टिस के लिए. जैसे हम कॉमन आदमी, अभी पिछले वीडियो में प्रदीप जी बहुत बड़ी बात कर रहे थे कि हम लोग कॉमन लोग हैं, हम लोगों ने इस मूवमेंट को इतना बड़ा बनाया. अभी मैं आधे घंटे पहले सिर्फ 3 बज रहे थे, उस समय हमारे साथ 4000 लोग जुड़े हुए थे. जरा सोचिए सर कि पूरी दुनिया से इस समय में इंडिया में 3:30 बज रहे हैं, आप सभी अलग अलग जगह बैठे, दुनिया के अलग अलग हिस्से में हैं, इस समय भी अगर हमें 4000 लोग एक साथ देख रहे हैं तो कहीं ना कहीं कुछ था, कुछ बड़ा था, जो बहुत कुछ अभी हमें उसके जवाब चाहिए थे. मेरा ये कहने का मतलब है कि सरकारें अगर इसे पॉजिटिव तरीके से लेती तो वो अपना कद और बढ़ा नहीं सकती थी. वो उन्होंने उल्टा काम क्यों किया? अगर मैं तो कहूंगा अभी भी वो अगर कुछ अपने आप को इमेज उनकी सही करना चाहते हैं तो वो कोई भी आके अपना भाई इनिशिएटिव ले सकता है. ये नहीं कि भाई एक सुर्खियां बटोरने के लिए कि उस फला नेता ने ये कह दिया कि मैंने देखा था या उसने देखा था, सिर्फ सुर्खियों के लिए नहीं. एक्चुअली अगर वो चाहते तो क्या वो इसको पॉजिटिव वे में नहीं ले जा सकते थे? क्या कहेंगे सर इस पर आप?
एक बहुत पुरानी कहावत है, चोर की दाढ़ी में तिनका. You see, they tried to wipe out the evidence clean. वो बात हो गई थी वहां, हो गई होगी वहां पे. जिसने भी किया है सरकार की तरफ से देखा जाए तो ये यू आर एब्सोल्युटली सही कह रहे हैं आप कपिल जी कि आप उसको हीरो, वो बॉलीवुड में हीरो था, एक्टर था, अच्छा एक्टर था, ऐसा नहीं था कि बहुत तरह के एक्टर होते हैं, लेकिन किस तरह से धुलाई पुछाई हो रही थी कि लोग डर गए थे, करने वाले शायद ये डर गए हो कि कहीं अपना पहचान का बंदा तो कहीं फंस ना जाए इसमें. तो मेनी अ टाइम्स यू विल नोटिस कि हम सफाई करने के चक्कर में वी लाइक टू डिप्रिकेट समबडी, उसको बना दो, कचरा बना दो, कि बॉलीवुड की रेपुटेशन ही वैसी है. बिटवीन द ड्रग्स, इलीगल मनी, इलिसिट थिंग, रिलेशनशिप्स, it doesn't have a good reputation. You may have a good screen persona, you may have a hero image, but deep down people know who you are, right? You are a nobody. आपने पैसे कमाए, आप एंटरटेन करते हैं, but that's all that is there. So when their reputation is such sullied, I mean, श्रीदेवी गई, आज तक कोई नहीं जानता है, पुलिस की सर्टिफिकेट तो हर जगह निकल जाती है, करेक्ट? परवीन बाबी गई, वो भी हम आत्महत्या का केस था. The point which I am trying to make to you is that there is something very sinister out there. And I think the government जो थी, जो भी सरकार जो कर रही है, I have a feeling they are trying to buttress something, they are trying to put something under the carpet, and they are trying to make sure that technically and legally nobody should get entangled. That's the important part. You know, in democracy, one of the biggest failings of democracy is to legitimize illegitimate things. So when you say it is legit, as if it is all moral, it's not. Is it ethical? No. हम legit में बच गए, that's all. I have not committed a crime. O.J. Simpson, if the glove doesn't fit, you got to acquit. Who doesn't remember that? I remember. That was the case. If you watch the 13 episode of O.J. Simpson's own thing, even his hardest supporter will say, yeah, the guy did it. And that glove was the evidence. That when the prosecutors tried to prove that the glove, well, let's take it, they didn't know that glove, because that O.J. Simpson suffered from arthritis and his hand had puffed up, swollen. And the glove, because of water and everything else, had shrunk. So when he put the whole thing, the prosecutors were told not to do that. But when they did it, the whole case crumbled on that. That's what is happening in Sushant's case. People are trying to put things under the carpet. कि कोई एविडेंस कहीं ना मिल जाए, कहीं बाल ही ना मिल जाए. आजकल तो डीएनए भी मिलता है भाई. तो मेरा ये कहना है कि कुछ भी नहीं है वहां पे. That is baffling. That's baffling.
Right, sir. Absolutely right.
Girija ji, aap kuch, you want to question or you want to say something around this? But before Girija ji, I would say, Santosh ji, last 19 months, I don't know how closely have you watched, how closely have you seen things. शुरुआत में मीडिया, शुरुआत में लोग बहुत ज़्यादा और कुछ बहुत बड़े-बड़े नामी गिरामी लोग कहें या पॉलिटिशियंस कहें, सब लोगों ने इस चीज़ को, आज मैं बोल सकता हूं और मैं बोलना चाहूंगा भी, to be very clear, they use this as an opportunity. They capitalized on it, they cashed on it. Now they are nowhere to be seen. अब लोग कहाँ हैं, क्या कर रहे हैं, पता नहीं कहाँ, सारी चीजें बंद हो गई उनकी. How do you see this? How do you perceive this? And आज की डेट में इस मूवमेंट का जो the power and the strength is the common man, the common people, जो इस मूवमेंट को शुरुआत से ले रहे थे. But we were always hoping that there will be some of these politicians stronger, चाहे वो social media के strong handles हो या जो भी हो, they will help us. But now since we don't have them and they've taken some kind of a U-turn, how do you see this movement going forward? And what's your take on that?
So Sushant ji, from the beginning, as you said, जब से ये हुआ है incidents, तब से अभी तक, over last 1.5 odd years, I think आप जैसे बोले कि बहुत नामी गिरामी पत्रकार लोग, to name a few like Arnav Goswami, etc., who ran, non-stop campaigns, this, that, just to popularize their channel. I mean, they are nowhere to be seen, the influential guys. Okay. So what do we, Aam Janta, normal people like you and I, what do I conclude? We have to conclude that these guys were vultures feeding on the dead body of Sushant. Nothing else. In plain one simple words. So I classify them as dogs feeding on the body or vultures feeding on the body. बहुत लोग ट्वीट कर रहे थे, फेसबुक कैंपेन कर रहे थे. Nobody is to be seen now. Everybody is disappeared. Okay. But I know some of the lawyers जिनका प्रैक्टिस नहीं चल रहा था, वो लोग सब मीडिया स्टार हो गए. ठीक है. And they are earning more money from YouTube just thanks to Sushant's case and than their own practice. So what do you call them? I simply call them vultures feeding on the dead body of Sushant, nothing else. I have zero, not an iota of respect for them, let alone call them anything else, I mean, you are feeding on the grief of the nation, and you know that, people are watching it, and you are trying to capitalize for your own gain rather than helping the cause. And because of such people, the cause they have been rather detrimental to the cause. But on the other side, if you see, people understand, today's just Vibhuti sir quoted ना कि जनता सब समझती है आज के डेट में, ठीक है. सो हर आदमी को पता है, इसमें किसी एक्सपर्ट की जरूरत नहीं है बताने की कौन वल्चर है और कौन उस पर फीड कर रहा है. People can see it. The whole world is so transparent today. You just need to clear the mist on your eyes and see it through. That's it. So मेरा यही clear stand है that these guys are absolutely vultures, no matter who it is. Okay.
Right. Before I go to Vibhuti ji, सबसे पहले तो मैं, I see Disha who's driving. So Disha, be safe, and I can see your phone flipping here and there. So please be safe. If you want to park, उसके बाद बात कर लो. But if you have something that you want to say right now, please go ahead. But be safe.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I'm driving. I'm going to pick up my daughter. So I just want to say that I was never Sushant's fan, but there's one thing that I felt, and I never believed in this, but I think there's definitely some divine intervention, because I never followed his movies. I cared when other celebrities in Bollywood died, but the impact he left on me, and the sadness, the anger, the upsetness that I felt, and I was a new mom, I've never felt before. And I really think his soul connected with everyone that's fighting for him, because it wouldn't make sense any other way. I was born and raised in the States, but I was a big Bollywood fan. And I'll say that if any good came out of this, is us and people like myself being aware of all the filth that goes on in Bollywood. And I have absolutely gone ahead and unfollowed these people. They are no longer my inspirations. And I have taken my daughter out of any Bollywood dance studios. I think that this was a big awakening, and I think it needed to happen. And I'm so glad that there's some good coming out of it, even though, I believe in poetic justice, even though maybe Indian judiciary may not serve the justice that we want. But I think the best thing we can do is collectively boycott anyone that has any involvement, and I think justice will be served.
Absolutely. I agree. Just be safe now, and anybody wants to comment, anybody wants to say something around that, please go ahead. Vibhuti ji or Santosh ji or...
See, Varun ji, मैं यही बोलना चाहूँगा. I think Disha was talking, if her name is correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, Disha, you are not the only one. I have met, multiple people, if not hundreds, but tens of people who never knew Sushant before he was dead. Okay.
Yeah.
Similar like you. And they immediately, emotionally, as well as, philosophically connected with Sushant after his death. Okay. And this doesn't happen unless there is some, transcendental connection, as I say it always.
Yep.
Okay. So there is some larger power which connects him to us. Okay. I cannot say that I follow Bollywood movies always, but I don't know why. One day I heard that, okay, Sushant's Dhoni movie is released, okay, and they were showing it first premiere show in Krakow, okay, and I was living in Czech Republic. 9 o'clock show, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock I was called that there is a premiere show. It's a almost 2 hours drive. Within 5 minutes, me, my wife, and my 5-year-old kid, we decided to move, And we drove 200 kilometers. We reached Krakow, saw his movie, 9 to 12. And thereafter, from 12 to 2, we came back home. It was all kind of, divine.
Yeah, I 100% agree, because I followed Bollywood my whole life, and I did Bollywood dancing. And when Divya Bharti died, I was upset, but this is just on a different level. And I had tears. I cried, and I cried for so long. I had headache, and my husband thinks I'm crazy, and he's like, I don't understand. You don't even know him. But I'm like, no, there's more. It's not just an actor died. I think he was definitely a good human being. We all have established that. But I think there's definitely something divine. And I think people that think similarly, like I fight for justice. I cannot tolerate injustice. And I feel like people that think alike or whose souls have been connected, I think are in this fight together. And that's my opinion. But this is what's bringing everyone together. Now, I have friends who I try to educate, and they're just refusing to see it. A lot of them were pro Riya Chakrabarti. They're like, well, she's getting targeted. And then when I showed them the bigger picture, they refused to see it. They turned a blind eye. They don't want to hear it. But I think that this is an awareness that everyone, especially outside of India and within India, needs to really come to terms with, right? We're supporting wrong people. And there's going to be more wrongful deaths if we don't correct the way we think and who we support. So I 100% agree with you. There's something way more divine that
it's a transcendental connection with many of us people out there in larger world. And then you see the pattern, it's not only Sushant's death. Thereafter, subsequent, before that also there were many deaths in Bollywood, all somehow getting, connected and related to Sushant. And after post Sushant, murder or death, as we want to call it, subsequently there have been many other, suicide allegedly or deaths or murder, which you can connect the dots. Okay. So somehow you can see a larger criminal plot where you see the whole, criminal mentality of wiping out every bit of trace which may or may not have been left, systematically to be cleansed, almost like with surgical precision, that nothing can be ever found. And that what bothers people. People notice it today in today's transparent world where everybody has a camera, everybody has a mic, and everybody can go online. It's not a privilege of few, like that only Rajdeep Sardesai has a mic and he can only have a TV show, right? So even Varun Kapoor today is bigger star than Rajdeep Sardesai for people like us. Okay, we don't care a shit about who a big media guy is. Okay, and this is the change we have tried to bring in the world. Okay, that we can define our own leaders, we can define our own stars, we can define who is the person who is representing us. Okay,
right.
And maybe I think people, you and I and everybody is here in this world for a defined period of time. Okay, this period can be 10 days, 10 years, 100 years max. So let's say Sushant's age was also defined like, he was supposed to live for so many years, he lived it. Okay. But his death also has solidified people and galvanized us. And we are trying to define this, This is a big change, I would say. So his death is not in vain. I would say if it has brought these kind of changes, it's for good. It's for betterment of the society. So he lived well, and in death also he is doing well. Okay.
Absolutely.
Like we Hindus believe, Vibhuti knows I'm a kind of, hardcore Vedanti. So people never die. You just change your body. So for me, Sushant is ever living, always living.
Yes.
He changed his body.
I believe that too.
And taking that cue, the thought that was coming in my mind was very clear. कि भगवान मुझे शेक्सपियर बना दो तो हैमलेट प्रिंस ऑफ डेनमार्क की कहानी फिर से लिख दूं मैं. And I would call it Sushant, Prince of Bollywood, and I hope his soul tells us what exactly happened.
Exactly.
And there is, it is like sometimes you wish you have that power. A few days ago, some guy cut me across when my son and I were in the car. He cut us across to make a stupid left turn, just jumping my row. And I said, आज मुझे हैरी पॉटर की तरह आज वो वांड होता, इसके सारे चक्के को मैं पंक्चर करवा देता. whatever मंत्र करके। तो आज मेरे मन में वो इच्छा हो रही है आप लोगों के साथ बैठे बैठे कि काश मैं शेक्सपियर होता तो मैंने एक सुशांत प्रिंस ऑफ बॉलीवुड के नाम पे एक फिल्म बनाते और उसकी तरफ से जो हुआ है उसकी चर्चा करें। The other thing which I wanted to say, Santosh ji knows me very well. You guys know me a little bit, Varun and Girija, my dear friend, is that I believe in one particular phrase, my favorite phrase, knowing what we know, what can we do? Where do we go from here? And my appeal would be that as a student of economics, I always say demand and supply. We have the supply of so much goodwill. Let's do social media to the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, to all the police authorities, कि क्या आपको शर्म नहीं आती कि इस मामले को आप कुछ तहकीकात नहीं कर रहे हैं? Why not barrage them with questions? याद दिलाएं उन्हें कि आप भूल गए हो, हम नहीं भूले हैं। चाहे वो पोलिंग पे हो, हम आपको वोट नहीं देंगे क्योंकि आपने इस बात की तहकीकात नहीं की है। There has to be some kind of a proactive scene that can be created, that you force an action, you create a scenario. That's what my appeal to all the supporters would be, that yes, somebody said the dead can't cry for justice, but we can.
The living. It's a duty of the living.
Yes, we can. And to that end, I think we must not slow down the activity. हर एक महीने एक जाए memo to the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, what's happening on this investigation. You can reply to us that we are investigating. That's okay. But वो जाना है उनके पास. That kind of a proactive thing has to happen. सारी दुनिया देखे कि हम अभी भी पूछ रहे हैं. हम भूले नहीं हैं इस बात को. Right?
Yes.
It is impossible to believe, Girija ji and Varun ji and all the people who are here, that एक भी DNA evidence नहीं मिल रहा वहाँ पे. किसी का नाखून, कोई पानी, कुछ भी नहीं है. That is a very suspicious thing, you know. ये सफाई की गई है वहाँ पे.
Absolutely.
Clear all evidences. Don't leave no trail behind. तो दिखेगा नहीं, छोड़ देंगे. You know, that's the thing which I am of that thought. So with these, I will say, Sushant, rest in peace, my friend. And तुम्हारी आत्मा फ्री है, कभी आके कहानी कह जाना हमें.
Like, I just would like to say, we have been doing that. We have been tweeting to the Prime Minister, Home Minister, to CBI. We have been tagging Chief Minister, everything. So that has been going on. And I think Sushant Singh Rajput has been trending for last so many 1.5 years, 2 years, almost like. So in Twitter. And this is the most organic movement where, you know, nothing has happened officially or nobody has paid, but people have come together on their own. Like, I was the least interested in all these things, and we were having lunch, and I saw the news flashed on the screen, and I said, he cannot do it. This was the first word that came to my mouth. So my husband said, the policeman is saying he's a fool or what? I said, just now it has happened. How can he say that? I don't think he will ever do it, because I have watched him do that Manav role as a son of a mother. And somehow I began to feel that that is the real person. He was not acting that role. Somebody who was very truthful, sincere, the full of integrity towards his family. That is what he was. And the moment he left the serial, I had stopped watching it. Okay. So that was the kind of impact he had. So something said within, this cannot. So from that moment, it was all the time TV. I was watching that, only that. Nothing else mattered to me. So I'm sure that this is the way, like Sir was saying, there is a connection that was established. And it was a very pure, powerful connection. Okay. And that connection did not stem from any expectation. It was only that something unfair has happened to somebody so simple, straightforward, straight from your home. That is how it felt like. Somebody who was sitting next to you is suddenly gone. That is how you began to feel. So then every day, when more and more information emerged, the pictures emerged, they began to haunt you. And I said, how can people just keep quiet about it? So there was Arnab screaming about it, and we were watching that, and suddenly that also stopped. And I was just going through different channels, and that is when I found Varun Kapoor's channel, and he was talking about it, and I said, I want to talk. And that's how I came in. So he connected people from different parts of the world, and all of us are connected only for one reason, that something very unfair happened. Not He was not just a film actor, somebody who was so pure in his intentions. If you read his musings.com, self musings, you'll find 150 dreams. I have, in my 64 years, I haven't had 150 dreams, and all those dreams so varied, so daring, so full of consideration for humanity, with a higher into a probing into a higher realm. It's amazing. So how could he do it? So all these things, I think somebody's is echoing. All these things, you read that, and then you listen to his music. Like you said, you listen to his videos, the talks that happen, the various award functions, and you feel this man was hurt like this. How can anybody do that? So we realized that it was not something that was accidental. It did not just happen. It was made to happen. It was projected as though it was dejection, it was depression. A lot of planning had gone much before what was done to him. That was very clear. So now Rudraba has put a complete sequence documentation, which we're tweeting, which we're sending by WhatsApp, which we're sending by mail, which we're putting it on Facebook, everywhere, the entire sequence of what has happened. And it is so easy to share with people. When I shared it with my housing society people, what did they say? They said, oh, I was just wondering, this madam is not so fond of films. How come she became so fond of this boy, and she's all the time talking about him? But now I realize there are so many things that has happened because people have not given the time. We don't blame them. Many people are going through COVID times. They have lost their jobs. They're struggling for jobs, so they probably did not have time to. But when everything is given in a capsule and they are able to see things, it becomes so clear to them. And they say, oh God, we are so sorry we were out of this, and now we want to do something about it. So I think it is one-on-one. You talk to people who know you, who trust is going to help. And I'm sure the common man's energy is very uncommon. The ordinary man can do things that are extraordinary. We don't have to think that only X and Y can do it. Like you said, Vibhuti ji, yes, we are constantly writing, and I'm sure one day the Home Ministry and the Prime Minister will listen and will understand that when people are clamoring for justice, if you give them something else, it is all superficial. If I'm dying of hunger and you tell me, okay, you apply kajal, you will look beautiful, I will just slap the person, right? So now that is the kind of hunger that people are feeling. Hunger for justice, hunger for fairness, hunger for equity. That is what people are feeling. And if that is not given to them, they are not going to be happy with anything else. That is very sure. The young people are so focused. You see Bharat here, you see Varun here, you see so many people, Style Rug. So you see Pikachu. You see Freeze Down, you see Hema, everybody's channel I go, and there are so many people, and all of them young. Sagar Balla, there are so many of them, and all of them giving so much time to Sushant Singh Rajput. And so many people say, oh, they are making money out of it. Money, who doesn't make? Everybody makes by something. But why do they have to spend time here? Everybody has got skill. They know that there are so many people making videos about Rajput. Why should people come here? But still they are doing it because there is a purpose. They understand that there was injustice done. I truly believe in the goodness of our youth, and I truly believe that they are giving their time and focus here because they believe that they can change the world by this. And I stand with them, and I'm sure Sushant's spirit will stand with them, and we will get justice. It may be delayed, but then the mills of God will grind slowly, but will grind fine, and we will get justice. I'm very hopeful for that. Thank you so much.
It will happen, absolutely. And just to be mindful of the time, I really want to give...
Varun?
Yes. Go ahead, Bharat. Go ahead, Bharat.
I just had a very small point to make. Vibhuti sir, I just heard you talking about, referring to a few vultures who kept on shouting that they know what has happened, but still they kept shut. They, capitalized the situation, took their portion of cream and just went away. Out of what you have been seeing for the last 19 months, any small advice that how we can take this a step further now? Because We have been writing emails, we have been making phone calls to HMO, PMO, wherever it's required. But till now, what we can see is just that, they have come to know of our existence, but they have decided to avoid us. And that actually, in a way goes ahead and sends a wrong message towards all the warriors who are fighting tonight for Sushant, that, that our own central government agencies are not interested in listening to us, or just keeping mum about everything.
One thing I would like to say, Bharat, when we all call, those people are so polite to us. They never slam the phone down. They're very polite. They'll say, "Madam, investigation is going on." Mostly, yes. 302 हो जाएगा, आप फिक्र मत कीजिए, जल्दी से हो जाएगा. That is how they talk. They don't even say no, 302 नहीं होगा. They are not even saying. They are not even just saying investigations on. They are saying that, but they are not saying when. And अभी तक क्या हुआ कुछ नहीं पता. So is it just to placate us, or I do not know, why do they have to also do it? They can ask,
Yeah, because
it is over.
what I feel is sometimes.
Yes, Bharat.
Okay, what I feel is that sometimes we have to think from all the perspectives.
Yeah, you call your name Bharat or Bharat?
It's Bharat, sir.
Bharat.
With two A's.
Good. I just wanted to make sure,
Okay.
Bharat, thank you for asking that question. I would say two things in this regard is democracy, the wheel of justice moves very slow. So think about it like this, that supposedly innocent man from Pakistan who went on shooting people in Mumbai, famous 26/11, usko bhi, he was on camera when he was caught, right? Doing what he did. Yet, it took 3 years to try him and convict him for what he did. In Sushant's case, the investigation is going on. So what we have to be is patiently impatient. That's the phrase I would use here. Bear in mind that police has to do the investigation part of it, specifically when all evidence has been wiped off. It almost looks like that there is no evidence. Today you saw, I tweeted about it, that in the Chinese professor case in MIT, the US Department of Justice is no longer pursuing that case because the burden of proof is so hard. I tweeted, is that the new English definition of capitulation? The wheels of justice move very weird in democracies. And I quote Batman Begins, in which Ra's al Ghul's character says that criminals take advantage of the compassion of the society and laws. And that's what we have to be cognizant of, that fact. That's what I'm saying. Do not cease your efforts of reminding. Prime Minister and Home Minister may or may not have much to do other than political element in this. And I'll be very frank about that. The man who is accountable for this and whose responsibility must not be ignored is the Mumbai Chief Minister and the Mumbai Home Minister and the Mumbai Police Department. Look at what that Paramveer Singh or whatever the Commissioner of Police was. Look at his fate today. There was because something happened. Maybe Sushant Singh का पाप वहां उससे लगा कुछ भी वहां पे, जो भी उसने किया होगा शायद. My appeal to all of us would be that it has been 2 years, yes. Kasab took 3 years to try. Forget about everything else. जबकि उसको आंखों के सामने देखा था हमने, right? So the point which I am trying to make is that we have to be very, very strongly patient and demonstrate our anger and frustration at time to time. याद दिलाइए चीफ मिनिस्टर को कि आप इन्वेस्टिगेट नहीं करेंगे लेकिन आपको वोट नहीं मिलेगी फिर. The politician fears only one thing, and that's the vote.
The vote bank.
That's it. He fears only a vote and losing the election. We know how politics is dirty. So that's why I say you have to take one step at a time and never relent on it. That's the important part. Never get frustrated on it. परमवीर जो कमिश्नर ऑफ पुलिस थे उनको तो सजा मिल गई. आज बहुत सारे लोगों की आवाज नहीं सुनते हम, है कि नहीं? मैं नाम नहीं लेना चाहता हूं उनका यहाँ पे, चाहे बच्चा हो या किसी का बाप का बेटा हो, जो भी हो, उसकी आवाज तो बंद है ना अभी। हमें वही डराना है लोगों को। हैमलेट प्रिंस ऑफ डेनमार्क में जो होता है, डर होता है, आता है सीन देखने के बाद, उनको नींद हराम करनी है हमें, सो दैट दे कीप रिमेम्बरिंग दैट हम भूले नहीं है इस चीज को। We must not forget. Thank you very much for asking.
I just want to be, mindful of the time.
Yes.
The next session.
Tell me when my time is up and I'll be out.
It is, and I would love to have you more. But, one last comment from both you and Santoshji before we head to the next one. But before you do that, thank you to both of you for taking out time. I know there was a little confusion. Looks like that confusion was created by me, because even the next one, Bridgewani, I mean, he was just looking at whether it was today or tomorrow, because everybody's getting confused with the India time. So, but I'm glad he's there. He's waiting. So please go ahead, Vibhuti ji.
I have only one thing to say, and I will repeat: do not relent, be steadfast, have patience, and demonstrate your impatience. As somebody very rightly said, no justice, no vote. Let that be a new campaign.
Yep.
Yes. Thank you. And I'm delighted to meet my dear friend Santosh ji. He's from Luxembourg. Unke jo bhi time hue ho.
Yeah, it's very late for him as well. So thank you again, Santosh ji, for taking this time.
Thank you.
No, thank you. I just, before we discuss, I just wanted to say कि एक और बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट हुआ है सुशांत जी के जाने के बाद कि the focus on mental well-being has come back. Okay, so while we do our campaign to get and seek justice, and we do not relent until what we want is achieved, it may take 1 year more, it may take 100 years more. Okay, we will not relent. That's the pledge. But at the same time, we came to know that Sushant was mentally not keeping well for obvious reasons. That he was made sick, or he was brought in this kind of state of affair, okay, by certain invested or vested interests. So हम लोग को अपने मेंटल वेलबींग को कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं करना है. हम लोग चाहे कितने भी स्ट्रगलिंग फेज में रहें, वी हैव टू बी ऑन टॉप ऑफ आवर हेड. ओके, और ये सारे यंगस्टर्स जो स्ट्रगल कर रहे हैं जहां भी हैं, उन सब के लिए मैसेज है कि द मोमेंट यू आर फीलिंग दैट नॉट इन कंट्रोल, somebody else control of you, you need to your family get that VC circle, and there is no stigma into it. So आपको जो भी आपके आसपास आजू बाजू फैमिली फ्रेंड्स, प्लीज रीच आउट टू देम, सीक सपोर्ट, and don't let yourself get into that kind of crappy situation where you are not able to come out, and maybe somebody else can take advantage of you.
True.
ये मेरा मैसेज है. And Vibhuti ji has already been on your show, and Krishna ji, and they have been campaigning for it and working for it. But I solely stand for this as well, along with Sushant.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good luck. We will continue this marathon with you. And we are signing off the show, but we are in solidarity and behind you and everybody who is in this show. Wonderful people, Bharat, Tamizan, Kapil ji, and Girija ma'am. Thank you very much. It was wonderful to have all of you. Namaste.
My personal gratitude to all of you. And today I'm seeing Dubai on the screen because he's he's very fond of Girija ji. paying her compliment for all her wonderful comments. And Kapil ji, good to meet you, sir. Bharat, thank you very much. Varun, keep up your good fight, man.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Let's keep our mental balance intact, because that's where it is important.
Very important. Yes.
Greater the crisis, greater the calmness. That's what we need.
Very nice.
It has to be relaxed.
Yeah, on this note, I would just like to say something. Sushant was fed substances without his knowledge in his drink, as already Bharat had shown yesterday about some other heroes and some other people who have been given and who have admitted that their own family people fed them. So it was very clear. So in that particular state, a person will sleep for 20 hours, and then the person is fed like that for 2-3 days, and then suddenly he's off that drug, and then he doesn't realize what is happening to him. So that is what was done to him. Otherwise, I don't think anybody could have been fitter than Sushant, whether it was mentally or physically. That is very clear. So it was only because of psychedelic drugs.
And it was the same doctor.
Absolutely, by the same doctor. Yes, there's a lot of research done, sir. We should get in touch with it so that we become more clear about that. Santosh, thank you so much. Yes.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Thank you so much.
See you on the next.
sir. Thank you.
Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Bharat, for making it so clear yesterday. Amazing it was.